Cool. We're on.
We are on.
Welcome, Hard Nation, to podcast episode number 2. Win the Day, I believe, is what we're going to call it.
The Win the Day podcast.
The Win the Day podcast. It's going to be the biggest of the world.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. What's up, Milet? We're coming from you.
Shout out, Emma.
Shout out. If you're listening.
We're going to stay away from the shout outs for this episode. Cool, man. Well, as you know, we talked about it obviously before, but we want to talk about lead gen today.
Yes.
You know, we want to talk about lead gen specifically. I think we got a real treat for all the listeners that are going to get the privilege, hopefully, of listening to this. We've got our two best lead gen guys in the business. You know, let's start with that. Just the people themselves. Obviously, the people are always the most important thing about any program. But let's talk about those two guys, man. What do they mean to you?
Matt and Furry, a.k.a. Mr. Meatball and the appointment guy.
The longest meatball.
Meatball. These guys are just the best. I mean, Matt's been in the business for a long time. I can't wait to hear what he comes up with today. I feel like he's one of the best examples we have of how to change people and the result of somebody showing up here, one person, and exiting or staying here, but being a totally different version of themselves, all for the positive. So super excited to talk. We got Kobe Bates and Matt Ruggia coming in on the podcast. Can't wait to hear from those guys.
Oh yeah, man. Matt's one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. They really both are.
Yeah.
But Furry came in kind of firing right off the bat, right? But what I love about Matt's story in particular is he's one of those guys I personally got to work with a ton, and then I got to see evolve into a completely different human being. And as you know, you hear me talk about it probably more than you'd like even. But I'm obsessed with evolution, right? There's nothing more that excites me in the business than seeing people go down that road. So
for sure,
super stoked to get them on. But what do you think about just for everybody listening, whether it be leaders that we have in the company or anybody outside the company that's debating building a lead gen team, what do you think the reasons behind building one are in the first place?
Well, I think that especially for people that have been in it, when we first got in, 10 years ago, appointment setting, based on how much per kilowatt people were making and the programs that were there, it made more sense to knock on your own doors. And a lot of guys that got started early, you only have so much sand in the hourglass when it comes to knocking and keeping that burnout at bay. So for people who have been developed and know how to close, but for whatever reason, family, they just don't have the vigor to get out there as consistently as they used to, or they don't have a referral pipeline, I think Prime's a amazing way to still have a place for them to work and be successful and stay in their lane and be the best closers possible and focus on what makes them great, which is closing, and also gives people an opportunity to come into the business that might be in the minor leagues of sorts. They need some time in the minors before coming up to the majors. They need to learn the ropes. They need to learn the vernacular, the talk tracks.
Right.
So I think for both those reasons, I think Prime and lead gen is super important and definitely should be implemented as soon as possible. When do you think they should implement Prime? If you're a manager on within our org or outside, when do you green light the program?
It's a good question, man. I think it's different lanes, right? Like so often, sometimes companies look at this as a lesser lane or a less important lane, and they're never sure 100% when to do it, but it's always when you have the leader, right? This isn't a lesser lane. It's just a different lane, and I think that's what's so potent about a strong lead gen program. We call it Prime, obviously, is it gives the ability or gives us the ability, as opposed to trying to force people into specific lanes. Like, how it is, we meet that rep, and it's like, oh, this guy's going to crush it. He's going to be so good at this. He's going to be a great closer, he's going to be a great lead gen guy. Like, we don't always know 100%, even having been in this business combined 18, 20 years. This gives us the ability to have multiple lanes, and I think that one thing that we've done well at Harness is find out and have the patience to allow, not only as leaders to find out what lane is best for each individual, but also allow that individual to specifically own that lane, right? Like, I don't want to tell somebody what they're best at. I want them to find out, tell me as we kind of come to that conclusion together, and then put them in that lane, as opposed to putting them in our lane. You put them in the lane that they're best at, and then push them along that one, for sure, as a good leader should, but not pushing them or pulling them along the lane that we just want them in. So to build a lead gen team, it's when you have the leader, right? In any market, I think as soon as you have the leader, even if there's no reps around them, if you've got a guy or a girl that's the leader, I'll invest heavily into building that team and helping them scale. I'll give my freaking heart and soul to do that if and when they're the guy or the girl, right? As long as you have that person, you're freaking on.
That's it.
It's hard to miss when you've got the leader.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Let's talk a little bit about how to get this thing off the ground. So we talked about why it's important, when to do it. Like if you're listening, you've been in a company, you believe in lead gen, how do I go from inception to reality?
And again, if you have that guy or girl, they have to prove the concept, right? Like they have to show they can actually not just lead, but also do it on the actual doors, and have the willingness to again give their heart and soul for a long time. And once you have that person, and they're not just good at doing the job, but you understand that they're actually good at teaching and training the job as well. It's a completely different level. You know what I mean, just because I know how to do something doesn't mean I know how to teach and train it at a high level. So if you have that person, then man, the beautiful thing about Harness is, of course, you want a culture of people and leaders that want to recruit and actively personally recruit. We absolutely encourage that. We always want that, and those are always the best leaders anyway. But we also have this hidden little nestle called the growth team. You know what I mean? Talk about how you just turn on that spigot, and the growth team starts filling you up with interviews, and then you learn the interview process, understand the intrinsic dance and art that is the interview process. Interview well, make sure that you have a stringent hiring platform, essentially, right? You interview well, you train well because you have a leader that can teach and train, and then you just make sure that rep feels loved and appreciated along the way, and that the leader's constantly leading from the front, and everything else seems to take care of itself. Scaling a door-to-door team is definitely one of the most challenging things and parts about the industry, but I think that when you boil it down to its simple essence, it's not that challenging if and when you have the right people, and especially the right person that's always willing to lead from the front. Lead from the front, have a duplicatable system, have a bomb growth team, and you're on. You're on.
Yeah. We talked about leaders. Who is somebody that fits into Prime? What are some characteristics of somebody, if you're listening and you're curious about getting into solar, or you're somebody who does interviews, you hire, what attributes, what do you hear from somebody, or what do you see from somebody, qualities or stage of life where you're like, okay, this, you're best suited for Prime?
You got to be coachable. You got to be hungry. I think that especially as we know, this, and we probably both had moments in our solar career where we're like, damn, we're such good closers that we can sit back and we can easily close 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 deals a month. But with Prime, that's never the case. It's a harder job in the sense that your effort has to be higher. I wouldn't say it takes quite as much like fully developed high-level closer-like skill, obviously, because it's lead generation by default, but it's a higher-level effort job. So maybe a little bit less dialed in, crazy across the board, killer closer skill, but it absolutely requires more effort. So you got to find people that are more willing to give that effort than some people that may succeed on the closing side that just don't quite have that effort to give, or maybe never did, but they're just natural born closers or whatever it may be. The Prime guys can't be that. You got to have the effort.
100%.
There's our guys right there.
There
See
they
if you
are.
can climb on in, take a seat. We're going to keep rolling. Matt and Furry in the building. But yeah, man, you got to have that. Guys that are willing to put in just a crazy amount of effort, and that the consistency that it requires is no joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What about you, dude? What are like some do's and don'ts that you've seen in your experience scaling the program in general? What are some things that you've loved that we've done, and what are some things that you didn't love and that you've seen from other people as well?
Well, we were blessed to see out on the East Coast, see a company that did it really well. It was kind of the first company to implement this and do it really well. So I think we are super lucky that we got to witness and be a part of that, even vicariously, not being involved directly with Prime, but how their structure was set up. You got to learn a lot about the do's and don'ts. And I would say the first thing is it can't be a separate team. You can't, one team, one dream, and we believe in that, from installers to permit runners to site survey coordinators,
right.
From the whole org. Everybody needs to be on the same team, and I think the first way you get in trouble is if you try to segregate or have some kind of separate program or separate get-togethers, and you alienate your people. I think that's the easiest way to grow a divide and resentment. Oftentimes, when these guys can see the person's closing their deals, they can hang out with them. They see them outside of the field. They're encouraged to get to know each other. They're encouraged to not hide pay scales or talk about that stuff when it's open and transparent.
So
I think that you get to walk in their shoes, and they grow a personal relationship, and I think you start caring more about the quality of the lead you set and what you're setting up with somebody for, and making sure you're not signing up a bunch of serial killers and sending dudes into the house, into the dungeon.
I can't take you seriously when you say serial killer and you have sunglasses on and a mustache.
Yeah. Yes.
Just can't. Hello, young man.
Hey, guys.
Hello. Hey, my friends.
My
sons.
Guys, we were just talking about essentially the do's and don'ts of a Prime program in general. And Bo, I couldn't agree more with what you said, man. A big concept that I understood as well working with that same company that I learned, I think that we both knew coming to this program, is you can't undervalue Prime either. Right, you can't pretend that closers are better people.
Right,
they're just not. And some of these Prime guys will, as these two guys have done so well, some of these guys will outwork almost anybody else in the company.
For sure.
And there's a huge difference, as we mentioned, between the guys that have a ton of skill and just don't work that hard versus the guys that maybe just started out but they work their freaking butt off, and that absolutely demands a super high level of respect. And anytime that scale gets skewed and salespeople start being valued more than the actual lead gen guys themselves, that's when we've seen programs just really capitulate to all the hate that is essentially generated from those two divisions when they start looking at each other like that. And I think we've done a great job of not just treating Prime as equals, because of course they are, but sometimes these guys get more credit than the sales guys.
Yeah.
And by golly, sometimes they deserve it.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. If you have qualified sales guys and you have quality leads coming through, I mean, no offense to the closers out there, you're not that special. I mean, rolling up to a set appointment, talking through your talk track. I mean, I think customers or salespeople, they can get more referrals. Obviously, that's a benefit. But based on these guys' hard work, it's easy to they're the gasoline of the business.
Sure.
I don't care if you have a Lamborghini, you're the best sales guy in the world. If you're not down to go get your own leads, knock on doors, you're going to stay in park at all times. You can't even get that thing into first gear. So I think it's important to understand that these guys are the fuel, they are the gasoline that drives the business. And when we're trying to push into overdrive and hit things, I mean, a lot of times it's on the sweat of these guys' back. So I agree with you 100%. I think not only are they, if you're gonna miss on the side of taking care of your lead gen guys, because you can always find closers.
Couldn't agree more. Well, now that you guys are here, double welcome. But for the few people that'll be watching this that don't know you guys, this is Furry, aka Kobe Bates, true name Furry, right? This is Maestro, aka Matt Ruggia, true name Maestro. Nicknames are a big culture here at Prime. We absolutely believe in nicknames. I think Furry actually gave himself his nickname. Is that correct?
Yeah. I didn't think that I would be leaving the Prime room. I was told I would need a nickname.
It got public real quick.
Came out public pretty quickly.
Your saved in my phone is Kobe Furry. I gotta remember Bates sometimes.
He's actually saved in my phone as Kobe because I met him as Kobe, and every time I try to text him, I type in Furry. I'm like, how is Furry not on my phone? Oh, this guy named Kobe it's Furry. I actually have to change that. Thank you for reminding me.
I've heard you call me Kobe a couple times.
It's confusing.
The couple times I've heard it, I was like, oh, am I in trouble?
Right.
What did I do?
You probably have been a few times I've done that. What about you, Maestro? And tell us where the nickname Maestro came from. I think you gave that one yourself as well, right?
Yeah.
Self-titled.
Well, I needed a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, it was just Dude. Didn't really flow right. And then I was listening to a solar podcast, and they said Maestro, and just kind of stuck. Good. It rhymes with go, so let's go Maestro. So I just kept that.
Very true.
That sounded cool.
And you coordinate the symphony that is the sales team, right?
I helped to coordinate that.
Yes.
He's the matador to the Bulls on Parade.
That's it.
It all makes sense. Now, we've got a couple questions for you guys, and again, we appreciate you guys coming on. But the first one, and this is always an interesting question for me, what were some of your initial thoughts and fears when you first started in the door-to-door space in general?
Sounded terrible.
It sounded terrible?
The thought of going door to door sounded like the worst thing on the planet.
Right.
Didn't think it would be something I would ever want to do, ever. And then you guys did a pretty good job at selling the job, and I was like, well, I need a job, so thought I'd check it out, and it ended up being the best thing ever.
Right. When did you know you made the right call?
After first week or a few days.
You were an early bloomer. Like when I first started, I was terrible, but it took you a week or two before you really started to see some success and see some income?
Yeah, started getting like one a day, and I was like, oh, okay,
That's one of the beautiful
This
things
will be
about
good.
lead gen is you really can start making money right away.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people, they always come to solar for the income, but they stay for the culture. They stay for the company and the people, right? Like that's really why we love this company so much. It's not just the big fat paychecks, although that doesn't hurt. Sophie, keep rolling. But but for real, I mean, they come for the income eventually or originally. And the nice thing about lead gen is realistically on the sales side, that income doesn't actually happen right away. Even if you're darn good at it, that income really doesn't happen for 30 to 45 days. So that is a huge benefit for the lead gen space in general, or the lead gen side, I should say. What about you, Matt? Biggest thoughts, or I should say biggest fears and original thoughts?
What were your trips?
It didn't
Trips.
sound bad. You know, I read the job description on Indeed.com, was ready for something new and exciting.
Right.
So it didn't really scare me too much. At first, I thought it was actually for selling solar.
Right.
I knew it was door to door. It was just exciting to get into a green industry, try something new. You know, and the way the ad was on Indeed, it seemed pretty lucrative and whatnot. So I was just excited. I hadn't worked for 2 years before that. I took a little break. And,
That's a big break, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going through some life stuff.
Right.
But when I found the job, I was just like super stoked on it. The description was awesome and turned out to be really, really good stuff.
Super cool, man. And then when did you know you'd made the right call? Because you were good right away as well, right?
Yeah, just like after a week or two, I hit the ground running and was producing more than the other guys in the office. So
Yeah, I'm envious. It took me like probably 4 months to even
4 to
think
6.
that I was in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
I was convinced I was going to make it, but yeah, I didn't actually see fruit
Yeah.
of my labor for at least 3 to 4 months.
Just ignorant confidence, I called it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can
Fact.
figure this out. Just falling flat on my face. No. That was somebody else's fault. Bad neighborhood. Let's
It's always
switch
a
it up.
bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
What about somebody starting, guys? Like, what would you tell somebody brand new to the lead gen business? Essentially, what would you, not just somebody, but specifically, what would you wish that you had told yourself at the beginning of your lead gen career here?
Something I wish I told myself.
Or that you knew?
You know, I don't really have a good answer to that, but something I would tell someone new starting out is just don't listen to anyone. Every single person is going to tell you that you're going to fail.
You mean like anybody outside the doors, like in your life?
Exactly. Your friends, your family, they're going to tell you it's a bad idea. They're going to say you're going to fail. Just don't listen to anyone else because they don't know. They're not here.
Right. That's a great answer. You did have a good answer.
Hey, thanks.
What
Very
about you,
nice.
for our maestro?
Sure.
Oh, I thought you were
I
hugging
think that's
me.
a really good answer too. I mean, that actually happened to me. So I was really excited for the job. I knew nothing about the industry, was about to get started, and a few of my friends and my girlfriend at the time said, "This is going to be tough. This is a bad idea. What are you doing?" And you know, I'm glad I didn't listen to them, but I did get upset because it kind of did steer me away from it a little bit.
Right.
And then, you know, obviously, what did I have to lose? So
I mean, that's crucial. We were talking about that the other day, right? Like, we need to make sure all new hires and anybody starting out the door space understands that most of the people in your life are going to say, this is a bad plan.
For sure.
And because for a lot of people, it is a bad plan. You know, if you don't have the courage and the wherewithal to make it happen, it is a bad plan.
It's the lobster in the pot, man.
Yeah.
You don't have to put a lid on the lobster pot. It might be crabs. I think I've done this example plenty of times, but if you put them in boiling water and somebody starts crawling out, the other lobsters will pull them back in.
I think it is lobsters.
I think it is lobsters.
Yeah. They taste better than crabs anyway, so I'm going to stick with lobsters.
Oh, lobsters, dang. I absolutely love it, but I agree 100% with your guys' answers, and that's super thoughtful. You got to be careful of, but that is part of the barrier of entry. You know, it's a scary job initially if you don't know. The uncertainty is there. You've got naysayers trying to pull you back, and I think it's a big reason why there is so much turnover. There's so many people that, you know, come in for the job and even start for a week, but they just can't get over that first hump. And if you're listening out there, you've ever thought about giving door-to-door solar a chance, it's just like, you know, give it a real chance. Give it a month, give it 2 months, 60 days, you know, plug your ears, put your head down. Tell them you're going to work at Jamba Juice because they'll be psyched about that because they're doing better than you probably.
Right.
You know, they'll let you do that
They'd be
all
stoked
day.
about you getting a $10 an hour job.
Yeah.
One
Can I
that
come
make
get a
six
juice?
figures.
Yeah.
Let me get that juice hook up, bro.
Let me get that juice hook up. So, guys, now that you're here, you didn't listen to the people that berated you when you first started. Talk to us about like what your favorite or some of your favorite things about Harness are.
I mean, I don't really have anything bad to say about it.
That's right.
I mean, you
Give him that 20.
it's all just, being personally accountable. You go out there, do your work, you do a good job, you're going to make good money, and you're also going to have free time to do whatever you want. I mean, I work less than 40 hours a week, and I'm making more than I ever have. I don't work Sundays and Mondays. I get Saturday nights off. I mean, it doesn't get better. And just the culture
You
is
need
awesome.
Saturday nights off.
I need Saturday nights.
I've seen you on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
I've been there once or twice.
I can't be working on Saturday nights. That's unprofessional.
For sure.
That's awesome. What about you, Matt?
The culture, the people, the energy here, the money. It's lucrative, the freedom. So we go out, kind of work when we want, where we want, just get out there and produce, and don't really have to do anything else besides that, especially as lead gen guys. But yeah, Harness, everything about it's pretty sweet. I don't see myself really ever going back to a 9 to 5.
For sure.
I think one thing you guys have done really well, and you touched on a little bit, is you don't work 60 hours a week, but both you guys give like a fantastic 30 to 35 or whatever your number is, but you give a high level of work when you're here. And we always talk about blitzing to one and staying off our phones or focusing and things like that. And I would attribute a large part of your success to that. Not just, it doesn't take 60 hours a week. It takes it dialed in, whatever it may be for you, 30, 35. And I think you guys have done a great job of that.
For sure. I think what some people don't understand about door-to-door specifically, and I think Landon talks about it great, it's like it's a mental wrestling match, It drains you. Not only are you walking around, you're in the sun, that's a very small part of it, but the endorphins that you have going around, like the feeling of, playing the dance and feeling people out and perceiving and reading and communicating at a super high level, like it leaves you at the end of the day.
It's taxing.
Taxing.
Yeah.
You get home and your girl's wants to talk to you about her day or whatever, and you're just like, I've talked about enough days to enough people today. I've literally checked my box. I'm going to need to just...
I cared about 40 people's days. It's tough for me to care about one more.
Yeah, it is a slight drawback of the role, but that's why you want to make sure you're not out there 8 hours a day, and for most people, you can, as long as you're dialed in, you're really communicating at a high level during those five hours.
And that's also earned, right? Like when you start, you do have to put in some heavy time, but at a certain point, it becomes like effectiveness of time put in versus just time put in.
For sure.
Right, and I think that these guys mastered that.
For sure.
Very, very well.
Speaking of mastering stuff and how well you guys have done, this is one of my favorite questions, but who do you feel like you guys have become? Like, what skin have you shed? What things have you left at the door? Like, how have you changed as individuals, as people, not just in the job and numbers, but I'm super curious. And Matt, we'll start with you on this one.
I would say I'm more of an extrovert now. I was definitely an introvert, so getting out on the doors, talking to people, helping people.
You're more fun.
More fun.
Than you were in January, for sure.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
It's a compliment.
Yeah, definitely have grown, getting out of my comfort zone on a daily basis, even doing something like this. I've never done a podcast before, so just growing, shedding my skin, and just doing something new and different.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you've always been an extrovert, so tell us a little bit about who you've become.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really changed that much as a person, but definitely helped a lot with confidence. I could talk to strangers without feeling weird. If I was doing this 6 months ago, I probably would have thrown up. But yeah, definitely a little more outgoing, help with people skills a lot. More responsible for sure.
Nice.
But yeah, as a person though, not that much, but just I'm better.
Nice.
Right.
I'm better.
Nice, like a Mario mushroom of sorts.
Exactly. I've molted.
It's the star in Mario Kart where you're just blowing through shit.
Yeah.
Going fast. I love that. What do you guys? Where do you guys see the program going? So you guys have been a part of it almost from the beginning, both of you. As well as anybody. The momentum we have, new offices we've created. Talk to me about how this plays into Harness's total future and what part of it Prime plays. Matt, we'll start with you again.
Just seeing it growing. It's still relatively new and small. Just growing the teams, growing the offices, evolving, and learning more and more about how to optimize what we do and what we can produce, things of that nature.
Love it. What about you, Free?
Yeah, same. To the freaking moon. I mean, Harness is doing extremely well. It's probably not going to stop doing well as we open up more offices wherever. They're going to need prime teams.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to need people to lead those prime teams. And see hot things for prime and Harness as a whole.
For sure, man. Especially if I can get that old skiff working, we're gonna be on out here.
Exactly.
That's all we need is Bo's old boat to get going.
And once that happens, we'll be
Only thing
unstoppable.
holding us back as an entire unit.
Yeah, for real. We'll be
We've already
flying.
got the jet skis.
Yeah, Harn skis. What's been your guys' favorite incentive? What's motivated you guys the most? I know we've done boots, diesel watches in the Prime group. What the shoes for the record breakers? We put their names on it with their number. Of all those things, what's been the most inspiring for you guys? Go ahead, Free.
I mean, besides the Pirates Cove one, that was an awesome
How fun
one.
was that?
And
Shout out to Dan Dunn.
I mean, I started at such a good time because all I needed to get was 10 demos because it was my first month.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, as
God,
a
you
whole,
had it easy.
yeah.
She just
So,
snaked your way right
I
in
just
there.
slid
didn't
right
you?
in. Gotta say my other favorite one was the one that I didn't get with the either sword or lightsaber and the assassin robe. That would have been.
That would have been sick. What would you have gotten from that? I think it was the
pick
rocks
two.
glass with the cigar thing.
I would have gotten the robe, and I still think about it. I'm still having that mental debate. I'd probably go with the distinguished sharp sword, sharp weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do some fruit ninja in the backyard.
When you hit 40 in a month, I'll get you a robe and this distinguished sharp weapon.
Thank you. Might have to take some time off.
Yeah, just to play with the weapons.
Exactly.
For sure, we gotta get some watermelons. Just head
Yeah.
outside. Just get weird. I thought so too. Nobody picked the ninja sword, and I was like, "That's the first thing I picked." Self-defense, dude.
Lightsaber.
Yeah, keep it under your pillow.
What about you, Matt? What's been your favorite incentive?
Well, yeah, Pirates Cove is obviously awesome, but for the select few that got to go to Lake Mead, that was amazing on the boats and whatnot. So that was really cool. But for me, I love the shoes. Never owned so many shoes in my life.
Your closet is stacked right now.
Yeah, I got a lot of shoes.
You got more on the way, right?
I do.
Nice.
Yeah. But this watch here, that was when I had to beat the 40. I got 42 2 months ago, so that really pushed me. Even though I'm not a watch guy, I'll wear this from time to time.
Oh yeah.
That's no pun intended there. But yeah, this is, I don't know, just I guess the watch, because now I have one.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's so cool, man. Things you win in incentives, if it carries different weight, you go out and buy that thing, and like there's like buyer's remorse, like, do I really need this kind of a thing? It's
So true.
I scratched it, and you think about the dollar signs, but you win something like that, it just feels better. It's like walking around with a trophy. And this month we got cowboy boots branded with the H on it. I can't wait to see what those look like. And every time you're at a boot scooting boogie or a barn get down, you just remembering.
Yeah, I'd
how
rather
you
win
crushed it.
something than buy something. Like
for
earn it
sure.
through a win, than buy something any day.
For sure.
So true.
For sure. I love it. I think you guys have done an amazing job with those incentives, and look forward to dropping more and more of this stuff for you guys moving forward.
What about high performance, guys? You guys arguably outperform, especially on a level if you're just judging consistency. You guys outperform everybody in the company right now. You just do. Nobody's as consistently a top performer as you two are. So what inspires directly you two, what inspires you guys each month to give that high level of mastery, essentially, and that high level of dominance every single month in, month out?
I mean, I just want to do well. First few months here out of the gate, I did really well. And so I really just want to maintain that level of performance and just keep moving forward. I can't really slack off that much just because, I can't afford it and I don't want to.
Well, especially with your current lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
I mean, those perms don't come cheap.
exactly. These expensive wigs, the glue, and
among other things.
yeah. There's
This
a
is
certain
going up lately. It's this backlog from the shipping containers, like the glue.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I'm like reusing now, and there's a certain like lifestyle I want to be able to live, and I can't do that by not performing. You know,
Right.
that's why I don't get how people, I don't get how 1099 workers can't or don't work for certain periods of time, because I'm just like, how do you afford this?
Right.
You know, like, how'd you get there?
I can't understand the complacency.
Yeah.
Especially with you guys with your level of skill. You know, it's and in solar in general, you can go out and make so much darn money, life changing, family changing, generational changing money at any given time. It's hard to imagine not always pursuing that best version. But what about you, Maestro?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, what inspires you, man, to just keep the same crazy high level of performance, consistency across the board, which is again arguably one of the highest, if not the highest levels, especially you personally, in the company,
in the industry, bro.
Yeah, and absolutely one of the highest levels in the industry as well.
Thank you. I would say what inspires me is just the people around me, and to continue to kind of be the top guy, top producer.
Mm-hmm.
But also the pay structure for lead gen, we have to hit tiers.
Right.
So I can't really slow down. I got to keep the momentum and make sure I try to hit those top tiers to get paid more money.
Mm.
That inspires me. The money.
The
Honestly.
big mo is everything.
The big mo. Let the big mo carry you. The big money. It's interesting what you said earlier about people living or working hard enough to get to their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody who said something that is not my favorite person in the business, but I always give credit where credit is due. And this person said to me, if you give somebody $1,000 to set a lead,
mm-hmm.
and they think they're worth $1,000 a week, they do one.
It's very true.
Figure out a way to do one. If you give them $100, they do 10. And I think we've figured out more and more as the dealer programs came up, and the per kilowatt rates, and so many people are fixated on what you can make versus what you can do,
mm-hmm.
the value you can add, and the long term play. Everybody's chasing the lowest baseline. Everybody's chasing the biggest per kilowatt paycheck, and I think it's at the expense of not only the customers and quality and being a bit of a mercenary, but I think it's just the wrong focus.
Mm-hmm.
Find people you trust. Find a leader that you can get behind. Find a company that's at the right stage, who you can bring value to. Look at the company and say, is there 10 people doing what I do, or do I bring something special to the table?
Right.
And then just focus on your work. Focus on your day to day, and let the other things work themselves out. And I think the big mask and the big illusion that people are chasing right now is because I make the most per paycheck, I'm going to be the most fulfilled, I'm going to be the best version of myself, and I'm actually going to have the biggest 1099 at the end of the year. I think we pay great as a company on both ends, and I'm proud. I know Matt just hit the $100,000 mark today on his paycheck. Congratulations, brother. We still have a few more months left. I think it's about 1099s, man. It's about the end of the year. It's about the total value. It's about the ability to make more and grow within the
mm-hmm.
company the next year. And if you're always just jumping from low EPC lily pad to low EPC lily pad,
and there's something to be said about that, because if you think about it, I was thinking about this the other day. If you look at sports in general, and most of us follow some sort of sports, whether it be basketball, football, soccer, whatever it is. If you look at it, I've noticed this since I was a kid. Even when, for example, like super teams team up, they almost never win the first year.
right?
Like there's really something to be said about the longevity and sticking with a team. The longer they play together, there's always a window, right? If they play together freaking 10 years, then they're old and decrepit, and at that point nothing works, right?
Right.
But if there's always that 5 to 6 year window where they're like max capability and they all are making each other better at that point.
For sure.
And usually that first year, I can think off the top of my head, I believe it was Miami when Chris Bosh and D Wade and LeBron all teamed up. They didn't win the first year. They won the second year, and then same thing happened with I think when Kobe got Pau Gasol, and they were borderline a super team, but they didn't win the first year, but they won the second year, and they were a completely different team in just 1 year because they were that comfortable and that familiar with each other. And I think you're right. A lot of people miss that, and we miss that as in the industry as a whole. I think, and there's absolutely something to be said about it. It's massively powerful.
It is fool's gold, man. Fool's gold.
For sure. And that goes for I think any industry and any team. The longer you can be a part of it, if you're with the right people, you're only going to get better.
For sure.
The team's only going to expand, and the skill set of the team, everybody's only going to push each other up, at least for that that couple year window until something goes wrong. Like in sports, they get old, and that window closes. But there's seasons of life, and the best season for a team is never the first season.
For sure.
Right.
I think if you can ask yourself, and it all comes with like time working with people and how long you've spent with them and how that trust is built, you know. And then if solar crumbles tomorrow, like I'll work with these guys, we'll figure out something to do. We'll make some money. We'll team up together. And I feel the same way about you and Dan. It's like once you have that body of work put together and once you trust each other, it's like that long-term play, whether it's investments, whether it's new business opportunities, whether it's diversifying. I think I wonder how many people that do that lily pad game that can like say, oh, I've got so many people that I want to work with me in the future and that I want to work with.
So few.
And
personally, I've done it for a couple of years just because that's the way I was brought up in the industry, and you didn't end up with much.
Yeah.
I mean, just a lot of miles on your car and a lot of broken hearts.
That's it. That's it. So we'll go from the warm and fuzzies, guys. What? Tell us about your worst door. Worst door knock. It's a bear. What happened? You got a Karen, or you got a 75-year-old engineer that built a motorcycle from scratch one day, and he wants to tell you how solar works. What's the biggest? What's the one?
I had a guy threaten my life, basically.
Did he?
Yeah, threatened to kick my butt.
Nice.
Had
Could he
to
have?
run off his property.
Could he
Take
have?
him?
Probably not. No, he's as big as you.
Big dude.
Okay. What about you?
That's good. That's a good one.
I mean, a lot of times they're just funny, but I'd say like the worst one was just this old racist guy in Huntington that just thought I would be on his team, and he just started going in, and I was like,
not on that team.
Yeah, not gonna repeat all the words, but it started off with him just being an extremely nice old man, and he was like, yeah, no, I'm selling. Getting the hell out of California.
Oh.
And then he's like, yeah, neighborhood's not what it used to be. And then he just really went in, just like am I right? And I was like, oh, good luck with the move. I'm gonna head out.
That is one thing I love about the business, man. And I was in service industry before this. Somebody came into the restaurant. They sat near your table. You had to deal with them, and you heard dumb shit like the customer is always right. No, that is wrong.
Not true.
That is wrong. Customer is, right sometimes, but they are also sometimes extremely wrong. And I think the ability to choose the people you work with, like if you guys set leads in a day, all you need is 3, 2, 3, 4 people you get along with. You talk to 30, 40 people. Matter of fact, you can turn away as much or more business than you look for, and I think it's very freeing. And when you're good and when you have confidence and faith in yourself to go get the next door, to just say, hey, I don't like where this is going, whether it's something like that or whether they're naysaying or whether you think they're going to be tire kickers. It's like, hey, it doesn't seem like we're communicating properly. Like I only have so many people I can work with every month before I get overloaded. I don't want to put our solar pros in a position where this doesn't make sense, or you annoy them as much as you're annoying me. Have a good rest of your day. Like, no problem. Call me when you're ready. But it just doesn't think I don't think I'm the best person to help you do this. So, good luck in your solar journey. I'll talk to you later. I think it's a beautiful thing about our job.
100% agree. The ability to walk away is priceless.
Yeah. And I think
what about best case? Best case, say everything goes exactly the way that you guys want it to go. Over we'll call it 2 years. What does this look like for you guys in 2 years? What are you doing? Let's get granular. How much are you making? What's your position? And what's the best part about it? 3 different questions. How much are you making? What's your actual position in the company? And what's your favorite thing about it?
So, I don't have an exact dollar amount how much I'm making.
I want an exact dollar amount.
Oh, boy.
To the penny.
You know what?
Yeah. What's going to really stoke your fire?
Let's call it a clean 200. Yeah. Let's call it a clean $200.
$200. $200. That's per month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. $200. What was the second question?
What's your position?
Position? Well, Matt and I are gunning for the DM spot right now. It depends on the trajectory of Prime as a whole. Are there going to be regional primes? If there are,
there will be.
If there are, that would probably be us.
Maybe that's got a furry name on it.
It might have my name on it.
It just
might have Solar Daddy's name on it.
Might.
That would be real nice.
Indeed.
And what was the third one?
What's your favorite thing about that position?
Favorite thing about that position is, I'm coaching people, helping change other people's lives like you helped me change mine, and probably not knocking on as many doors. I love doing it, but don't want to do it forever.
Right. Good answer. So I could pay you $200 to be a regional.
Yeah.
We're on.
Yeah. $200.
We can do that.
Oh,
We can
that
do
was a
that
trap
right away.
question.
Yeah, we can do that right away.
I'm making a mill.
We'll revisit that.
Yeah.
What about you,
2
Maestro?
commas.
What do you got?
Well, I always had the goal to hit 6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
I did that this year, so next year maybe doubling that, 200,000.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot more than furry.
A lot more.
Yeah.
And then 2 years out, maybe 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be if we were opening up prime offices or being,
Of course.
DMs, regional managers, having a big team under us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like Kobe said, helping other people achieve the same thing we achieved, changing their life, become the best version of themselves. And then, getting off the doors a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always going to be on the doors, training people in the field and whatnot, but to not spend as much time on the doors and just kind of transfer the knowledge and train people to do the same thing without having to knock as many doors would definitely be the ultimate goal.
Absolutely, man. Good stuff. Well, you're going to be a little more expensive than furry.
We can negotiate.
But I think we can get you guys there. I genuinely believe that.
With inflation. And
Exactly. Yeah.
What do
Business,
you got,
China.
Bo? Let's
I got
let
something.
these guys know these guys are hungry to get on the doors.
Yeah, I got something I want to circle back to.
Yep.
For those listening about the bad door thing, I just want to add some context. And even if you're in the industry, I hope to bless you. And I know these guys have heard this, but it gives me goosebumps. But that is like the best part of our job, And I
Bad
know,
doors.
yeah, and I know people don't understand that, and it takes a long time to really like fully understand and believe that. First couple times you hear it, you're like, yeah, whatever, that's spin selling bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But truly, it's between the things you guys brought up, the barrier of entry, the people, the perception of the industry, the perception that people have, the naysayers that try to talk you out of it before we even get in, that don't even know anything about it. That's step one. And then when you go out there and you do have somebody who had a bad day, maybe whose parents got signed up by a sleazy door-to-door salesman in the past and they have a bad connotation, or somebody who you just don't know what's going on in people's life. You don't know what kind of pills they're on. You don't know what kind of stuff they got going on. And a lot of times people try to prescribe or wear like a bad door and take it personally and say it was something about them or their job or solar, and it starts to extrapolate and go into this spins out of control, and you start like losing your bearings on like what is this guy right, like what's going on, and they start wearing that. And not only understanding how to control that is important, but actually being grateful for it. I mean, if you said you can make 6 figures, if we talked to anybody and said you can make 6 figures right now in Orange County, work 35 hours pretty much at your leisure, take breaks or vacations when you want. We got great incentives. We've got great trips we go on. We've got sweet Harn boots and hair glue and all the things that we support around here. Anybody would do it. The line out the door would be a mile long if it wasn't for those people. If it wasn't for those people, if it wasn't for the people that really crushed you on the doors, everybody would want to do it. It would be an easy job, and you don't get paid a lot of money for doing easy things. So I just want to like touch on that and highlight, like, if you're doing something hard, whether it's solar or whether it's something else, and it's something that people have an adversity to do, you're probably in a great spot. There's probably the fact that other people don't want to do it makes it valuable. Garbage guys make a lot of money. I don't know if you guys know that, but like waste management people, they make good, really, really good money versus like a FedEx guy. Anybody can carry a package. Nobody wants to touch garbage. You know what I'm saying? Guy's driving a way nicer truck, works the same amount of hours, maybe even less. It's just interesting how perceptions and that stuff and gratefulness can like adjust how you actually see something. I mean, if you want to be a warrior in this industry, in this company, in door to door in general, let that bad door not only deter you but motivate you and keep you grateful and like happy and like appreciative for that person. You're a Jedi. You're done. Like, once you fully believe that and understand it, it's no longer just words. Once you feel that in your heart, like the true, like, overwhelming gratefulness, like you do after a good wave, or, a great dinner or something where you just feel like stoked. If you can feel that stoke after somebody crushes you, I promise you, you will be a legend in the business, and it takes a long time to do it. So I appreciate you guys for sharing those stories, and I hope everybody listening understands that is one of the most beautiful parts of this, and that's why I think we get to make the money we make.
I agree, man. I've got one final question for you guys to wrap up. Matt or Maestro, when do you see yourself leaving Harness?
I don't think I ever would, unless like the solar industry crumbles at some point. I know Harness can evolve to other industries, sell other things, and Dan did mention that if solar goes away, then Harness will still exist. So
I believe we will, man. We're a sales organization.
Yeah.
We sell solar right now. We believe in it. We love it with our whole hearts. But take that away from us and a group of individuals this talented, this motivated, and this together, we'll find a way. So I like that answer. Furry Win, in what circumstances do you see yourself ever leaving Harness?
Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Only way out is in a box. Blood in, blood out. That's about it.
What kind of box?
Some say pine, but I'm thinking more of like a rich mahogany. Maybe some gilded edges.
Dude, with all the things that
it's got to be heavy.
With all the things that you win, I'll make sure.
Exactly.
Box,
exactly.
for
sure.
It's gonna be hard for the people carrying it.
Some freaking crown moldings with spikes on it, so everybody has to
Exactly.
Well, we plan on keeping you both here for forever. Hopefully, we can fulfill our end of the bargain as we have so far, and continue to get the absolute damn best from you guys. It's been a genuine pleasure working with you guys. Genuine pleasure talking to you guys today, as always. And
pleasure's mine.
likewise.
I know, again, you guys are hungry to go knock some doors. You've been bitching about it all day, so let's get these guys out of here and wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Win the Day, episode 2. We're out.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.